Hello, hi, it's been a very long time. Well, it feels like a long time since I've done one of these anyway. And since this is the penultimate day of this disgusting mustache, I figured I may as well record it in history. Um, yeah, it's hard to remember the last time I did a talk to the camera one. Had things have been going forward well over here. The teaching is now, I feel like I've got a handle on it, but part of the problem now is that now that I've got a handle on the names and the general behaviour, I'm kind of expecting more academically, and it's hard finding the levels within the class that suit them, and so I'm bumping heads a little bit there because I'm not just expecting them to do the bare minimum. I'm trying to get them to, you know, do something, and I guess that's might be a bit naive because probably just best to just leave them to it, but I guess that's just a teaching hangover that I'm trying to get out of the system. Went to Seoul last weekend, like a full day and evening and morning, which was really good. You know, went around like the market region with a couple of friends, Rach and Hayes, and then met up with some other friends for like go to like a Korean tea room and all this sort of stuff, and had like cinnamon tea. But like the main tea that everybody else was having was this 5 taste tea, which is like, you know, the 5 tastes you can actually taste, like spice, sour, sweet, whatever the other ones are, all at once, which would be like super bizarre. And the cookies that came with it were like these weird, like puffed up rice things, which was a bit like eating ricey air. The idea of a donkey one, it would have just gone like to nothing. So their biscuit technology is a bit behind. But then I did post the previous video of making those things. I'll go and get them. This was the previous video, the things that they were making, which I was told to put in the freezer because they'll keep, and I think because they taste better. And I had one earlier today, and they're really good. I mean, they look a little hairy, but obviously they're not, and so you are just meant to put the whole thing in your mouth. So, very nice. I've got to imagine there's got to be murder on your teeth, but yeah, the sort of thing I would. It's really weird because it is like putting something fluffy in your mouth, as in actual like fluff, like clothing fluff, but sweet that then just dissolves to leave like a little package of what's inside. And in this case, it's like almonds, nuts, and that sort of flavour. So really, really nice, and it's nice to buy something a bit traditional. And I'm thinking of sending these back, like sending a box of each of these for my grandparents as like part of the Christmas present. I don't know, because I've been looking for something traditionally Korean that isn't like dried squid, or something like that. Ages ago, people did actually ask questions, and I never actually answered because I felt, so quite rightly, that I hadn't exactly been here long enough to answer anything. But well, Ben asked, "Is their peanut butter smooth or crunchy?" There isn't really Korean peanut butter; it's all just like imported stuff. Predominantly, it's smooth, but you can buy crunchy. Very important one. But he did also ask, are most people over here teaching, are they English or are they like other nationalities? And I'd say that probably most are English. There are a lot of Americans, a few Canadians, quite a few Irish, couple of Welsh, 1 or 2 Scots, and apparently there are some South Africans, but the only ones I met were in Seoul. But that's about it. There's no Europeans or anything like that. So, I mean, of course, their language is not English. But you know, the way that some Europeans, a lot of Europeans speak English, you could probably teach it. So, but no Aussies or Kiwis or anything like that. So that's a little weird. So yeah, I think Amy asked, how long was the handover? My handover was unusual because it was about a week that I was able to be here and have Ferg show me the ropes. I like a lot of people who've come up, they get like a weekend or something like that. So I'm quite fortunate in that regard. But I'm realising that our school is really different to other people's schools, because our school is me, a Korean teacher, and that's it. That's all the staff. Whereas most people seem to teach at what what we would consider like a more normal school. You know, like about a dozen, half a dozen foreign teachers, and then dozens of Korean teachers. So that obviously has advantages, but also slight disadvantages, because I know that some people have a problem with getting paid, or speaking to their director. Whereas my director can't avoid me even if he tried to. Not that he would, because he's a really nice guy. But it's just as small as it is. Oh yeah, so yeah, went to Seoul, bought those, and then it was a friend's. He'd like organised this Future Shorts film festival, which was really really cool. To like, I went up early to like help set it up and like put out all the chairs and all those important things. But at the end of the day, it's like just pairs of hands. And it was really nice to be like part of something like that. Like back when you used to do like the plays and stuff, and everyone working together, and then I got to like run the desk and all that sort of stuff, and that was a really really fun night. I've never been to any weirdly like loving film. I've never really been to like obviously it was like a film festival. It wasn't like some sort of Sundance thing, but there was a series of short films that were really really good, and it was a really nice atmosphere. And then afterwards got to go out and watch the rugby, and then went to a Korean club, which is exactly the same as an English club, just with cheaper drinks, and it's a bit smaller. And then because the last bus from Seoul leaves at 12, you either have to be on that bus or you stay the night in Seoul. And some people get a hostel, or what we just did was just stay up late enough to then catch the coach the next morning, which is a pretty crazy idea, but turned out to be really good fun. Even if I did sleep through most of the last few hours of the evening. Been back to the board game cafe. And recorded like loads of the games so that I can look online and find the rules. And there's some really really good games. Like, I mean, I'm gonna hopefully record some, or at least do some photos of playing the different games and all that sort of stuff. Like, the guy there seems really friendly as well. And it's 9:15 now, and I'm in an hour about whether or not going out or not, because on the one hand I'm really tired, but like we've got people leaving, which is like obviously like a constant thing. And at the end of the day, it is different to when somebody like back home like leaves to go to Korea or go like work in London or something, because when they go, it's not like they go and someone else comes back. Here it sucks like when people like Loz and Jayla are leaving. Like, I mean, I've only met Jayla like a few times, and obviously not even really met Loz, not really hung out with Loz that many times. Like, only been here a month. But you do, there are certain people who you do get on with really really quick. But of course, them going, there is somebody who's going to replace them. Like, it's not like there's ever like a lower amount of people here. It's just different people, and I guess that's part of the gamble. Because you might, generally people seem really nice here, but I guess if a really good friend is replaced with a complete tool, then that would suck. But yeah, I think that's more or less everything. Movember's coming to an end. Can't wait. Really, really grateful for everyone who's donated. I think I'm going to do like a shaving video, so I'm going to properly give everyone their credit for that in there. And yeah, if there's anything like at this point, you guys want to see or something, I'm thinking of putting my YouTube stuff back on Facebook now. I've been here a month, and it's not quite as like, oh, I've just got to Korea. Oh, there's these really funny things called Koreans. I don't know. I'll see. Yeah. Well, all the best.